Hi everybody, welcome back to Cooking with Katrina. So we are gonna do a holiday episode. December's here, the holidays are here, so that's what we're gonna do. So I brought my mom on. This is my mom, Val.
Hi.
So she's gonna help me. So my mom, myself and my sister, which I've mentioned on previous holiday episodes, we host a cookie swap party at my mother's house every year. It's really fun. Family and friends get together. Ladies do some cookie swapping and bake some goodies. And then we do some dinner and some appetizers afterwards, and the guys come over. So rather than do cookies for this episode, what I thought I would do is bring my mom on with me, and we would show you guys some fun appetizers and a little sweet treat and some drinks that you could make if you yourself were hosting a holiday gathering with some people there. So this is gonna be super fun and easy. So I'm just gonna give you a rundown on what we're gonna do. We are going to be making some baked pear slices with goat cheese, candied pecans, and honey, and there's some rosemary baked on there. We are going to be doing some turkey meatballs. They're not full-size meatballs, they're the cocktail meatballs. So we're gonna be doing turkey cocktail meatballs with a pomegranate glaze over them. And we're going to be making a holiday mojito mocktail, and that's gonna have some coconut milk and some lime juice and some mint. It's gonna be really good. And then my mom is going to be making her homemade Toffee Crunch, just for a little something sweet to add in there. So that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna get started. And what we're gonna do first is I'm gonna go over and start with the pears, because the pears need to bake. So you need to turn your oven on to 425 degrees to preheat. And we are going to do, these are Anjou pears. You wanna slice them into, fairly thin slices like this. And it's the whole pear. You're just gonna slice the pear right down. And then you're gonna put them on a cookie sheet, but you're gonna put them on some parchment paper. So you're gonna put some parchment paper down. And what we're gonna do now is slice this other pear. I'm just using 2 pears for the show. There's really no exact recipe for this one. You just wanna do as many as you need for the guests that are coming. So we're just going to slice down. There's gonna be a couple of pieces of pear that you're probably not going to use. You can clearly use them for something else, because again, we don't want to waste the food. But we're gonna try and do the whole pear. So again, slices like this, and we're just gonna lay them out here, and I'm just gonna get a couple more because that's all that's gonna fit on the cookie sheet. Seeds. I don't want to bake the seeds in there, so I'm just going to pop the seeds out quick into the trash. Okay. One more. Do that one there. Okay, so now that we have that done, we're going to take some rosemary sprigs. And what we are going to do with these is we are going to actually take the little pieces of rosemary off. And you don't need a lot. I mean, this is maybe like not even a tablespoon. You just wanna, all we're gonna do with these literally is dice them up a little bit and sprinkle them on top of the pears, because you want the rosemary to bake in the oven on the pears. So I just have a couple sprigs, and we're just taking the little leaflety things off. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is just chop them up. Roughly chopping. They don't need to be huge pieces, don't need to be tiny. You just wanna be able to sprinkle them on top of the pear for the flavor. Now we're gonna take them. Actually, you know what? We need to drizzle a little olive oil on the pears. You can use a little melted butter and brush it on. I just like olive oil. I think it's just easier. I'm actually just going to put some on my hands and rub them around. Just want to make sure that they're all nice and coated. This is a little messy, but it's okay. Make sure we get some olive oil on all of the pieces. Okay, so now that we have that done, now we're going to put the rosemary on. Just going to move this right back here. Now we're just going to take the rosemary. We're just going to sprinkle it. It doesn't need to be a lot, doesn't need to be even. Just get some on there. And just a little bit more on this one. Perfect. So now that that is done, we're going to put this in the oven. And again, so we're putting this in the oven and it's going to be in for like about 8 minutes. Depending on how thick or thin you slice these, you do want to kind of keep an eye on them. They could start cooking a little bit too much, so you just want to keep an eye. So we're going to put those in for about 8 minutes, but what I'm going to do is check them in about 5, just because I want to be sure of what's going on. So next, we're going to go over, and my mom's going to start on her toffee. So she's going to explain to you how to do this. And then once she starts with that, we're going to start the sauce for the meatballs.
Okay, so I'm going to make homemade toffee. You need a cup of butter. You need a cup of sugar. And you're going to put it in a cast iron skillet. And you're going to heat it on high, which will, perfect. And you're just going to take the butter and the sugar, and you're just going to, so it melts, and you're going to keep whisking it until it turns to like a tan color. And then we're going to know that it's done. And then we're going to spread it on the pie tin. We're going to top it with some chocolate and some crushed nuts, and it's absolutely delicious. But once again, it has to be done in a cast iron skillet or it will not work.
Okay, so while she's starting to get the butter and the sugar going for the thing, we are going to start on the glaze for the meatballs. So the meatballs are already cooked. For the show, I purchased some turkey cocktail meatballs. You can make your own meatballs. You do not need to use turkey. You can use beef, lamb, anything you want. Chicken, ground turkey. I use turkey. Again, these are pre-bought, but typically when you're gonna make the meatballs, whatever meat you wanna use, dice up either like a little shallot or a little bit of onion in there, very fine, an egg, some breadcrumbs, mix them all around, and then form the meatballs. The meatballs don't have to be super flavorful because, again, we're making the pomegranate glaze. So for the pomegranate glaze, you need pomegranate juice. So I have purchased pomegranate juice. You want to use 1.5 cups. So we are going to pour 1.5 cups of pomegranate juice into the saucepan. Then we are going to add, let me know when you need me. I've got to hold the pan up for her to scrape it. Then we're going to add about a little over a tablespoon of balsamic vinegar. And we're going to dump that right in there. And then we have a little pinch of black pepper and a pinch of salt mixed in here together that I did. That's going to go right in there. And then got like a couple pinches of cinnamon. We want to put the cinnamon in. So that's gonna go right in there. Now we want about a tablespoon or so of honey. So again, we're eyeing it. It's not gonna be bad. So we are just gonna squeeze some honey right in there. So we're gonna stir this up. We just wanna keep an eye on it. We wanna bring it to a simmer, and then we're gonna let it simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes. We wanna like get it to like a reduction so it's a little bit not as watery. So we're just gonna leave this on high for right now. I'm going to check on the pears quickly, see how they're coming. Just another minute and they should be done. So the Anjou pear, the skin is green, a greenish color. When they bake, the skin is going to turn to a brownish color. So you're gonna notice there's juices coming out and the skin's gonna become like a pale brown color. So the skin, I don't know if you can see in here, probably not, but the skin is getting to that brown, goldish brown color. So we're almost done. And anybody that likes rosemary, it smells really good. So when she's done.
It's almost done. You can tell it's starting to, almost like a taffy would be, where it's all starting to stick together, and you can see it's bubbling on the sides, and see how it's starting to stick together there. Just follow it around the whisk. Okay, we're all set. I'm gonna put it onto the cookie sheet. Katrina, you could help
Ready?
me for a minute.
Okay. I love these mitts. They're not Christmassy, but they're my favorite. Okay, so I'm just gonna, want to scoop that in further? I'm just gonna help her here with this just because it's heavy and hot.
Okay.
That's good.
Take it right over there, then I can scoot over here. Okay. And then you're just gonna spread it very thinly on your baking sheet, a pizza pan, cookie sheet, whatever you have. And it doesn't have to fill up the whole thing. And the nice thing about this is when it is all done, you just break it apart and it's however it comes out. What we need to do now is, while it's still very, very hot, we're going to take the chocolate pieces, put the chocolate pieces right on top and start letting those melt, and then just smear those around.
So I'm gonna take the pears out now because they're done. So we're just gonna walk over here, turn the oven off. Oh, perfect. Super hot. Just set these right here. So I don't know if you can see, but do you see how they turned? So they've got this like golden brown skin now. So they're like perfect. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually take them off here and place them on the serving dish because we want them to cool a little bit, but we don't want them to completely cool before, excuse me 1 second, sorry. We don't want them to completely cool because we want to put the goat cheese slices on while it's still a little warm, so the cheese, like, the goat cheese is fairly soft anyway, but we just don't want it like burning hot. So we're just gonna place these here. Whoop. And we're gonna flip it over and place it there. Maybe we can get that going right. This one's my favorite. I don't know if you can see it. It still has a little stem on it. It's so cute, that one.
Okay, now that we have spread the chocolate, melted it and spread it right over the first layer, what we're going to do now is take some chopped nuts and just sprinkle them on top. I use walnuts. You can use whatever kind you like, or these are actually almonds, I guess. You can use walnuts, almonds. You could even use some of the Heath Bar Crunch if you want, whatever you prefer. And just lightly just sprinkle it all on top. And the nice thing about this is, like I said, when it's all done, you just break it up into pieces. And what you have to do now is you have to chill it for 30 minutes. So you can either put it in your freezer. If you don't have a freezer that's big enough to put the pan in, just set it on your back porch. And I used to do that for many, many times when we were living in Shrewsbury. Just put it out on my back porch and it'd be all done. So now I'm going to just put this in the freezer.
We've got that juices bubbling here. So I'm going to stir it again, and we're just going to kind of let it keep going. And we're just going to keep an eye on it. Again, it's going to have to cook in there for a little bit because it's got to reduce down. So while we do that, we're going to come back over to the pears. So I put a few of them right here on the plate. And what we're going to do is I have some goat cheese. It's actually made in Vermont goat cheese. And we are going to open it up. And we are going to just take some slices. And again, like I said, goat cheese is very kind of creamy and soft. So we're going to take some slices of the goat cheese, and we are just going to put it on the pears. Almost has like a cream cheese consistency, this one. They have it crumbled. I didn't get the crumbled because I didn't think it was going to have the same effect with it crumbled, so I got this goat cheese log. And then one more. Okay, so now, my fingers are covered in goat cheese. We're going to set this aside, and we are going to we have some candied pecans. You can kind of do the candied pecans yourself. They don't actually need to be candied. You can kind of just chop up some regular pecans. I like the candied ones. I think they give it a little bit of an extra flavor. And we are just going to top some of the pecans over the pears. They're not all going to go on, but some of them on the plate make it look extra fancy, which is fine. So we are just going to do this. This one's fun, this dish. A little bit more here. Okay. Now, we are going to drizzle a little bit of honey over these. I just really just leave the honey in this and squirt it. I mean, it's got a squirter, it's fine. So we are going to do some honey drizzles, just like this. Honey's delicious, so anything that has honey on it is usually pretty tasty. Okay, these are done and they look really good. So we're gonna scoop these right here and we're gonna leave them here for just a minute until we get our other stuff done. And my mom's actually gonna go back and show you once the toffee's done how to like break it up and get it out of the thing. And I'm just gonna keep my eye on this sauce for a bit.
So I had pre-made some of the toffee already because it does take about 30 minutes or so to chill out. So I'm just going to show you. And like I said, the good thing about this is it doesn't have to come out even. You just take your knife, just put your knife down through, and however it breaks up, that's how the pieces come out. And that's half the fun of it. It just, all different size pieces, and they just look scrumptious. And that's all you need to do. Very easy, sweet, everybody loves it, and hopefully you will too.
Sauce is still simmering. It's got a little bit more to go. Again, we want it to, it was very liquidy, so you need it to kind of like reduce a little bit. So we just have to keep it going. I'm just going to keep watching it. And we are going to start on the drink. So for this drink, what we need is a half a cup of coconut milk. So I bought canned coconut milk. I already put it into the little food processor. I don't know if you can see it. It's got some thick stuff in it. Totally fine, you can use that. That's why we put it in the food processor, because we're gonna make it smooth so we can put it into the drink. So we've got a half a cup of coconut milk. We've got some unflavored seltzer water. We have 2 limes. We have some mint, and we have 2 tablespoons of sugar. First, we are going to take the lime, and if you kind of do this with the lime, it gets the juices going a little bit. It's easier when you're juicing it, so you kind of just hit and roll. So we are going to slice the lime, and we're gonna juice it, but I want a little piece of lime for the side, so I am going to, on one of these right now, I am going to cut a little piece, and I'm just gonna save it right there so I can use it to garnish my drink, because I'm all about garnishes here. So we're gonna set these 2 aside. I have my lime juicer. We are just gonna put the lime in here, upside down. We are going to squeeze it right into the mason jar. And we're going to do it with both of the limes. Quickly, just want to give this a little stir, make sure it's coming okay. Now we're going to do the same thing with the other lime. The juice is going, slice, and we're just going to juice it. On my tiptoes, I feel like, when I'm doing this. I got taller all of a sudden. Okay. So we have that. Now what we're going to do is take the mint, and we're going to use maybe I don't know, 15 or so mint leaves. I'm just going to take them off and throw them in there. And then, of course, remember, we want to save a couple for garnish. Probably going to put the bigger ones in there and save a couple of the smaller ones for the garnish. So I'm going to keep the ones at the top for garnishing. Now we're going to add the 2 tablespoons of sugar. And this is just granulated sugar, just regular white. Okay, so now we got this little thing, and we are just going to do this. What you want to do by doing this, it's a little loud, you're getting, first of all, you're mixing everything together, but you're getting the juices to come out of the mint into the liquid. So keep an eye on it. Okay, I think we're good with that. So now, before we're done, we are going to turn the little food processor on quickly, and we are going to liquefy this coconut milk. So pulse it a little bit. Take it off. It's toasty in here. I feel like my cheeks are very red. If I can get the lid off without spilling. Okay, so we're gonna take some of this, and I put a little bit more than we may have needed in here, but there we go. Now we are just going to put the lid back on this. We're going to shake it together. So now we've got the coconut, milk, and all the flavors of the other stuff going. And we're going to give this a stir while we shake this. All right, so we're gonna pour some of these into the glasses, and then what we're gonna do is top it off with some seltzer water. So you wanna make sure you have enough room for the seltzer. Now, for the show, I am making a mocktail, which is non-alcoholic, but if there's any adults at home watching this that wanna make this into an alcoholic beverage, feel free to add some stuff. A coconut flavored alcoholic beverage will probably go well with this. So here we go. You can also put some ice in your glasses. I just don't really have room for ice in these. So we're going to pour, and you can get some of the mint leaves in there. That's fine. Halfway up. Okay, so we're gonna open up our seltzer water, and we are just going to top this off. Ooh, look how fun that was, with a little seltzer. Got some pomegranate seeds. These things are fantastic. So I don't know if anybody actually has ever used pomegranate seeds. I know a lot of people have, a lot of people haven't. They are like, literally like so fun. They're like little like fun gems. So we are going to throw some pomegranate seeds right in here. And you can eat these, so don't even worry about it. For a little garnish. And I am going to, apparently they're just gonna fall out now, but I'm going to take a little sprig of the mint. And then, like I said, I have my lime that I saved. Actually, we might just use a half a lime on each one. I'm not sure how it's going to fit. So we have these drinks here. And now what we're going to do is the sauce for the meatballs is ready. And I have so many pomegranates because we're actually going to use the pomegranates to decorate up the meatball because of the pomegranate glaze. So we are going to set the meatballs on this cute little dish here. So I just used 12 meatballs for the show. But again, this is not any sort of specific recipe for how many you can use. You just want to make sure you have enough of the glaze. So we are now going to take some of the glaze and we are going to put glaze over the top of the meatballs. And then we're just going to take a few of these just to decorate it up a little bit. So we have some turkey cocktail-sized meatballs with some pomegranate glaze over it. We have some baked pear with rosemary, goat cheese, candied pecans, and honey. And then we have these little coconut milk, lime, and mint mocktail mojitos. And again, at home, feel free to use some alcohol if you would like. And then we have Valerie's
Toffee Crunch. Hopefully you will enjoy it.
So everyone, usually when we have a gathering at the house, we do a little shot at the end, you know, kind of like a celebratory cheers thing. So we're just gonna kind of do it with this today. So I just wanted to thank everybody for watching. I hope if anyone's having a holiday event at their house, they might be able to put some of these recipes to use, and I hope people like it. And happy holidays, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Cheers.